Mhm. Alright, how about this? Let's do a quick, small, just a small summary of what we thought about the movie.
Okay, great. You want
Alright,
to
you wanna
start
go
off?
first? You go first.
No, you go first.
Joe,
What? All right.
you go first.
I dug it, man. I don't know. It's like for me, it's like a 7 out of 10. Like it definitely is. The plot is just very linear, I guess, and I think some of the strongest things are the family aspect, Kang the Conqueror. But I mean, besides that, it just feels there's a lot not to like about this movie. But the way people are trashing it online and the Rotten Tomato score, I just think is unholy wrong. Just no way. No way is this a 45. You're saying this is worse than fucking Eternals? Come on now. Eternals was a 3-hour slog, bro. I'm sorry.
Overall, you liked it?
Overall, I liked it.
Mhm.
I think yeah, it had a lot more
It had
hits
some
than this.
struggles.
Yeah, struggles, but
Yeah, yeah.
I will say that yeah, of course I wanted this to be a strong fill for phase 5. I'm okay with what it is. But I feel like the more I think about it, the more I start talking about it, the more I'm going to dislike it. It's just part of my nature.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Because yeah, there's for me in this point in the MCU, I want I don't want to just enjoy these films. I want these films to be good, and I want the general public to watch this movie and love the MCU the way I love the MCU. But the MCU as of right now is producing some very mid
Yeah.
movies so far, so what do you think about it?
Uh, Surprisingly, I'm gonna have to side on the critics on this one. I hated this movie.
Whoa.
I don't even I don't even dislike it. I hated this movie.
Wow. What's funny is you called me at work and you said, "Watch this movie." And you sounded so distraught, like you saw a ghost. And I'm literally just hearing your voice, and I was like, "There's no way this movie could be that bad. No way." Um, and I went in with low expectations. I was like, "All right." And you know what? We'll discuss further, but continue with
Yeah, that's why I called you because it was just the next day I had to go to work, and the whole day I'm just working, helping people, and just a chip on my shoulder of just to go on the movie. Yeah, I'm going to agree with the critics on this one. I just don't think it was. I don't like a lot of it. I don't. There's some, like you said, there's some problems. There's definitely some structuring stuff, like the movie plots and motivations and stuff like that. It's out of this. It's weird. There's some stuff I did like. Uh, and I know we'll get into pros and cons later, but, I wasn't feeling this movie, and the more and more I'm sitting through it, the more it was like I felt like I was sitting through what people must have felt through with the okay, that's an exaggeration. I was gonna say, like, the prequels, but not really. I was feeling like maybe this can grow on me, maybe because I really do like the Ant-Man character. I even like Ant-Man the Wasp, like, I like the because I know a lot of people don't like him, but, like, I like Ant-Man the Wasp, and Ant-Man 1 is one of my favorite fucking MCU movies. I was just ready to be like, maybe it's not that, like, maybe I'm overthinking it, but I just couldn't find a moment for me to be like and
for
you
the
know me,
film
I'm
for the film to grab you. What's so
yeah,
funny about this is that this is when we are finally discussing MCU movies on a podcast, and it's funny that this is the first time we're talking about it because it's usually me who's so negative on movies and you who's so
right.
positive, and this is the first time it's flipped, so people are just gonna think that you're
Yeah.
um,
People are gonna be listening to this and be like, I can't watch this anymore. This
dude, I can't
fucking
even
John
listen to
character.
John. What the fuck?
Which is funny because if anyone knows me, I'm the guy who'd be like, the movie could be dog water, but if your third act is always epic or your third act is like fun and CGI and colorful and all that stuff, I'm all for it. Even
Yeah.
this movie didn't do it. Even this movie's third act, it's like CGI and everything was just, I'm just like, no, I'm not. I'm not.
Yeah, okay, so let's get
Mm,
into the movie then. Let's get
yeah.
right into it.
Let's,
Let's get into the
I wanted to
fucking
start
crap.
with pros. Let's talk with the pros.
Alright,
What'd you like
pros.
about the movie?
What do I like about this movie? I really dug the first act. We see Scott, and he's a writer now. He's finished, saving the world, Everyone recognizes him and recognizes his accomplishments,
Yeah.
but there's something missing in his life, and he just doesn't know what it is, you know? And it's his connection with his daughter, and his
Yeah.
daughter's in prison. He lost
And
5 years.
it works so well. Like, that's the other problem I was gonna bring up, is just Paul Rudd. Like, god damn.
He's a
He's
fucking
so charming.
he's
Like, I
so
can watch him forever.
yeah, he's so lovable, man, and he doesn't
Yeah.
age. He's a vampire.
That's that's fantastic. He can be in the MCU for, like, phase 16.
Forever. At a certain point, we're gonna have to ask Paul Rudd to stop fucking,
Right?
you're gonna have to age, like, come on. But
There's that
no,
one funny quote from the trailer. It's off topic, but there's that one funny quote from the trailer where it says, Kang tells him, "I can give you the one thing you need, is time." And then someone commented, "I think Paul Rudd's doing fine on time. He's kind of been frozen in time for."
I think he's alright, you know? Uh, but, yeah, that's what I would say. First act of the movie is really cool. I will tell you exactly the moment that it loses me, though. It
Well,
loses me
keep going on
right.
pros.
No, no, that's it.
You made it.
I mean, I could go into another pro that I really liked,
Yeah, yeah.
but it's further deep down into the movie where I was like, "Oh, that's cool."
Okay,
Uh,
so you wanted to go like each like structurally through the movie. I can't remember
structurally
the
through the movie, I can't remember the
and
movie
just
that well
talk about the pros
too.
and cons, I guess.
Yeah,
I can't. I've only for the record, I've only watched it once. How many times have you watched it?
I told you as I think more about this movie, I'm going to get even more negative because
Mhm.
the movie's not great, but
Yeah.
I have hope, you know? But yeah, the part in
How many
in
times
the
have you
movie
watched it?
I've only watched it once. Um,
Same.
but, the part that loses me is exactly when they enter the multiverse. Or not the multiverse,
Like Quantum Realm.
the quantum realm.
Okay.
Uh, and then they're all separated. That's when I feel like the story gets a little bit off track, and I'm
Yeah, I loved the beginning of it. Okay, I'm not gonna say I loved it, but it was yeah, I do like Paul Rudd, and he's has a everything's good in his life, like you said. He saved the world. Everyone loves him. They know he's an Avenger. He has a great relationship with Hope now. She has his business and everything. And like you said, like the whole relationship with his daughter is like the big thing. And I'm like, okay, cool. That's like the thing we're gonna be attached to in this thingy is Cassie, and her, not being, her separation with her father for 5 years. What else? Pros I like. We'll go more into detail, but other pros I like are the I disagree. I liked some of the CGI in this movie. There's some people out there that are ripping this movie with CGI and blah blah. There's a certain character that I will agree that is pretty not so good with the CGI. But I also think the quantum realm and everything wasn't so bad to look at. There was definitely some stuff I was like, that looks cool. There's definitely some bad green screen stuff that I was like, eesh, that doesn't look too good. But there's some people who are ripping this one a new one for some terrible CGI. I was like, I don't know. It was okay.
yeah,
Uh
for me, the CGI was atrocious. Really, really bad. There's moments
for
in this
the
where
quantum
I'm
realm?
like yeah, for the quantum realm, and I get it,
Okay.
this is
Yeah,
a
yeah.
this is like a journey to the center of the earth type of movie,
Mhm.
uh, and there's a lot that needs to be green screened, but it just looks so fake, especially coming off of Avatar 2. Like, after watching Avatar 2 and then seeing this movie, I'm like, "Are you kidding me? Is this the best you can do?" I know they've worked on Avatar 2 for, like, years, but it really shows you what really good CGI can do to a movie as
Mhm.
opposed to, like, a fucking assembly line CGI.
Other pros, obviously, um, which a lot of people on the internet said this, and I agree. John DeMaja as Kang was great. I'm trying to think of some more pros. I'm reaching here. Um, I kinda like the actress who plays, Cassie, like, kinda
Mm.
like her, like, she's really grown, I guess, like, she's, like she feels like one of out of all these young Avenger kinda characters, other than, like, Spider-Man, I guess. I feel like she could definitely take care of herself, and I really like that character. Not saying, like, her arc or anything was amazing, she doesn't really have an arc, really, but,
She has no arc. It's
yeah, she
insane.
has no arc, yeah,
Like,
I just
it's
mean,
crazy.
like, her, when I saw her and, like, what her personality is supposed to be and her relationship with, her father and everything, I was like, "Okay, okay, she's cool."
Yeah. Can we just address the elephant in the room? I don't know if this is just me, but in the trailers, doesn't it feel like it's implied that he lost 5 years and the the plot of the movie is that he sides with Kang
So
in order
that's what
to.
I yes, I was, you just wanna go straight into cons now?
Oh, and that's a massive con. That's
Uh,
actually that's a con in the other term, as in con artist. Like, you conned a lot of people into thinking that this movie was this that was the plot of this movie when it's not, you know?
yeah, the plot of this movie, that's a if we're just going straight into cons now, stuff I don't like. I mean, how much time you got? Yeah, there's just a lot of stuff I just was not feeling. Obviously, the plot
What
of
is
this
the plot
movie
of this movie? I don't understand the plot of this movie.
the plot
That's
of the
my
movie is
first.
essentially yeah, I would essentially say they have to go back home, but Kang wants to also go back home, but he has their daughter, so they have to work together to give Kang what he wants to go back home. Like
Yes.
that's like it sounds like a Saturday morning cartoon show, but
I
whatever.
can't believe how razor thin that plot
Yeah.
is.
I don't know if it was so this is the plot of the movie. I don't know if I call it mismarketing because that scene is in the movie where he says, I can give you what you lost, time. And it's very implied that yeah, he missed time with his daughter and he feels like maybe he was around her longer, that, maybe she wouldn't be like this kind of like talk back like sassy daughter that he has, like going to jail and shit, like taking care of herself kind of character.
Yes,
But
but
then he
doesn't
just kind of just says, "No, I'm not going to help you." And then just kind of moves on from the scene. Like
insane. I just feel
weird.
like that is the moment that loses the emotional beat of this movie, because that is way stronger a story than the story that we got. If we had gotten that emotional beat of like the years that he missed with his daughter and him wanting to go back just to, spend time, and then maybe slowly towards the third act he realizes that he doesn't need those times because he has her now,
Yeah.
uh, that would have been beautiful, but
Yeah,
instead we
great
get this
arc.
fucking this weird, like, "We gotta get back home, folks." Like, oh,
Yeah.
it's just
It's so
isn't that
razor
the
thin.
that's the fucking plot of, Ant-Man and the Wasp. He gets trapped in the quantum realm. Okay.
Yeah,
Like, we're
I
doing
don't
that
know.
again?
Let's talk about Jonathan Majors as Kang the Conqueror.
Yes.
Um, what do you think?
You said you liked him. I don't like Jonathan Majors. I know I'm in the one like 0.1% of the audience who didn't like his Kang the Conqueror, but I just feel like, and I think the reason I don't like him in this movie, I don't like him in this movie, but I think we said that for Loki as well. We're like, well, this Kang the Conqueror isn't Kang the Conqueror, so we're okay with it. He's he who remains, and that makes
Yeah.
sense because it's he who remains. So we just gotta wait till he becomes Kang the Conqueror, because maybe we'll like him as Kang the Conqueror. This is him as Kang the Conqueror, and it still doesn't work. And now I'm wondering if it's actually Jonathan Majors or if it's just the movie that he's
Yeah.
in. And it's
That's
very tricky because he is playing like a just like Christian Bale, Thor: Love and Thunder. He is playing in a movie that is not this movie.
That's
You get
why I
what I mean?
think everyone no, I absolutely agree. I think that's why everyone says they like Jonathan Major as Kang the Conqueror, and I absolutely agree, because I think Jonathan Major as Kang the Conqueror, and there are some scenes where he is like, he does grab the attention immediately. Like when he sees Hope and he's like, hey Pudding," or something like that. Like he's very sinister, but he'll talk to you, which I'm like, those are the moments where I'm like, okay, Jonathan Majors can do this. Like he's fucking has range. I think he was written like Skeletor, like just awful. I think the
No,
way they did Kang the Conqueror, I'm not a fan of how Kang the Conqueror is in the movie. I like
that's
Jonathan Majors, but I'm not a fan of Kang the Conqueror.
he's bringing this seriousness. It's just, for me, he is playing this role in a very dramatic sense, whereas in everything else is quippy and jokey, and then he comes in with this slow, almost monologuing, almost like contemplating, and it's just, I just remember being in the theater and thinking, I don't like this take on the character. Like, I know he's trying to look feel menacing, and
Mhm.
I don't know if it's not working because of the film that he's in or because of the way he's doing the character.
No, I agree, I agree. I think it would have to be the film, Because like you said, this is a Ant-Man movie, and it's all silly, and there's goofy looking characters, and there's a slime character, but then you also in the middle of this movie have the evilest man ever. It's the tone. I think it's the tone, and it's also the writing. They
Yeah.
definitely. That's when you brought up the scene where he talks about Cassie in the prison cell. That's the scene that took me the most out of the movie. Because I was not feeling this movie. I was not feeling where we're going and how fast it was going to, like the pacing. I was like, this is just a weird movie. And then Kang the Conqueror shows up, and this is me being like, this movie could be dog water, but I come on, like this is Kang right here, man. This is our next Thanos, right? And he shows up and he has a great look and his mask is off and his performance is awesome. Like I'm liking it. I'm like slowly getting into it. He's like, I'll give you what you want. He's talking to him. And then right when Scott Lang just kind of tells him, no, I'm not gonna do it. Then he just turns it to like essentially was just like a dictator, I guess, just kind of
Yeah, he like,
flipping. Yeah, like he's like
up to
torturing
daughter,
the
he's
girl
about
or
to
something.
torture her, he's like, I'll make you watch your daughter die for
Yeah,
infinity."
it's so one dimensional, and I'm like, what
It
the
and it's I don't know, it just didn't hit at all for me, and I think it's because his character, the I was telling my friend Jimmy because I went to go see it with him. I was telling him this, I just feel like as a bad guy, there's nothing to relate with him, like the way Thanos, like, you can relate with Thanos's, grand master plan, of cutting the
yeah.
universe in half, you know? I just feel like, what is your plan? He is evil for evil's sake. There's nothing to his character. It's fucking razor thin. Uh, he says that he needs to be the last remaining Kang in order to save humanity. From what? From what?
From
What are you talking
itself,
about?
it's essentially he's essentially saying the multiverse war or some
Yes, but
shit like
we don't know anything about they haven't showed us
exactly.
anything about that. Like, it's pretty much him saying, like, "I need to be this thing, or else humanity is over." Okay, but, like, I don't care. I don't who like, have you shown us why you need to be this person? I don't and he's like, "Oh, well, I need to be the ruler." Well, that just makes you a very one-dimensional bad guy. That's it, you know? There's no redeeming quality to his character because that's if his only motivation is, "Oh, I need to be the ruler of the galaxy."
The multiverse.
Good god, or the multiverse, and I have to destroy these timelines. I mean, that
Yeah,
is
no,
not
it's not working
compelling.
out. No, I absolutely agree. He wasn't done that great, and I have a feeling that that's what a lot of people are saying. That I think we all know Jonathan Majors can do a better job because there are some scenes in this where he is. I do feel like that was pretty cool. I like it. I like that. But then a lot of other scenes where I'm like, that was so one dimensional and one so boring that I'm like, that was not good enough.
But my
Um,
argument is that it doesn't matter how good he plays that role. It doesn't matter until he gets a proper reasoning for being a bad guy. What is your you can't just want to be the ruler of the galaxy and have people sympathize with you. There's no what is it? I don't understand. And the plot is that he's going to destroy these timelines. I don't care. Destroy them. Like, there you haven't shown me why these timelines matter at all, you know?
yeah,
So when he's going off on this, like, "Oh, and all these timelines and I have to control them all," I'm like, "Oh, I don't," and I think that's what they're building towards in the next movies. They're gonna show us why it's important, but seeing him in this movie, very, very hollow, very weak introduction to supposedly the next Thanos. That's it's bad.
that was another thing I had a problem with Kang the Conqueror in this movie too. Is that he loses. This is the beginning of Phase 5, and this movie felt like it was supposed to be like this big anchor. And we're gonna go back to the saga of the multiverse saga, and this movie feels like filler. And I'm like, that's not what you supposed to do with this movie. When Kevin Feige announced Kang the Conqueror is the bad guy for Ant-Man 3, the entire world was like, "What? What? What? That's an Avengers level threat, and he's fighting Ant-Man?" But we all kind of took a step back and be like, "Well, maybe there's a plan here. There must be doing something with Kang that deals with this quantum realm or something." You know what I mean? Like, there has to be some connection here. But then he just kind of loses at the end. He yells at Ant-Man and tells him what do? You talk to ants." And then he loses to a bunch of ants, and they go home, and it's happily ever after. I was like, "What a safe movie!" Like,
There's this thing in this movie that I fucking hated. As I was watching it, I was like, "Oh my god, move on, please." Is literally maybe we don't get Kang till maybe I think 40 minutes into the movie, and through those 40 minutes, everyone's like, "Who
the
are you talking about?"
pronoun game.
Yeah, oh, we like,
I
oh,
told you, it's like a
it's
Saturday morning cartoon show. It's like, "You
it's like,
mean him?"
"You
Like,
mean him?" I'm like, "Bro, oh my god, that is like the 5th time you guys did that."
so corny.
It's just and then we finally get him, and they explain like, "Oh, he got" that was cool. I like that. He got banished into the quantum realm. That's awesome. But yeah,
Uh,
I really dug that, like, that idea that he was banished there
yeah.
and, because he's just fucking evil. But again, they don't show us why he's evil. And then they show, they don't they everyone's like hush whispers like fucking Voldemort.
They're so
Um,
stupid.
and then finally we get him, and then we see like, oh, he built an entire army in that
Empire.
empire, and he's sitting on his throne. And god fucking damn it, I wish I would have felt something during that scene, or felt like, man, this guy's a fucking badass. But no, it's like you guys didn't even show us that. Like, who cares? You literally just said he becomes a ruler. Okay, fine. Like, I'm a
You
guy
know
who's
when's
like
the
show don't tell.
yeah, honestly, yeah, you know when's the one time I actually felt j only maybe like 10 seconds of tension that I was like, "Uh-oh," that actually got my attention, was like, "Whoa," kinda thing,
Hmm.
was legit the ending where he's fighting Kang the Conqueror. Only because I was truly thinking for one quick second, will Marvel pull a fast one and kill Ant-Man? Or do something with Ant-Man, like, maybe he gets trapped in the quantum realm,
Yeah,
or I don't know, maybe he gets, like, his arm cut off. I don't know, something where because the door closes behind him, and they
yeah,
start fighting, and it gets really, really, really intense, and all the trailers are, like, Ant-Man saying, "One of us has to lose," or some shit like that, and I was
yeah,
like, "Wow, this scene's getting really heavy towards, like, right now." Like, no one's coming to help him. They're
yep,
both fucking ready to go. I was like, "Whoa, is Marvel about to do some crazy shit right now?" No, then it's completely safe. She comes in,
yeah.
helps him. Kang gets defeated by Ant-Man, and we move on. And then the movie's ending too, where he's that was one of my eye roll moments. No, not eye roll moments. In Shaun of the Dead where they're watching the play and Sean and I mean,
Yeah,
Sergeant Angel and thing are just watch, and their faces are just stunned.
yeah,
That was
because they're
me at
both
the
trying to
ending.
look at
Yeah, that was me at the end of this movie where it's the voiceover and he's walking the streets and he's like, "Everything's back to normal." But wait a minute, didn't he say he might come back or anything? No, don't worry about it. Everything's totally back to
we're
normal.
good,
Like,
we're good.
and then like he goes and has cake and then he eats the cake and he's like, "Oh, that was terrible." And then the movie just abruptly ends. It's like someone farted really loud in the theater. Like it was just like, what just happened? Like, that's the
Yeah,
movie's ending? It was so fucking random. I was like, "Wow, that was man random." And don't get me started with these end credit scenes. Oh my god.
yeah. There
I've been waiting a long time to see the,
the
uh,
Council of
the
Kang.
Council of Kangs. You know, I keep bringing that up too, like the council every time we talk about thing, I'm like, "Oh man, the council." I couldn't wait to see it. And I think at the beginning it was pretty cool when you see all like, Immortus and everything, like the
Yeah.
3 kings. I was like, "Oh shit." And we see like the arena.
Mhm.
And then and then it cuts to the arena. They're all going crazy for some reason. Like, it's just a bunch of Jonathan Majors in the theater in the stadium,
You
and
like
they're
that?
just going
I fucking love that.
nuts. Well, I don't God, maybe it'll do something with the story. I haven't seen
No,
anyone bring it
I
up, but
honestly, like, I wish I gave a fuck, but, like, that was a cool scene. It just, but I didn't feel anything? It was
yeah,
a cool
true.
scene.
It's something where I think a lot of people were like, "Oh, that's the council. They brought it up in the movie. Whatever."
Yeah.
It could have had more weight if it I don't know, it pulled me out. It was so weird because it showed everyone in the theater, and it's just a bunch of Kangs fucking hyping themselves up like this is like some boxing match or something, and they're screaming. I'm not making this up. That end credit scene thing happened where it's just a bunch of Kang the Conquerors in the stadium, and
Yeah.
they're all yelling, and it just cuts and it ends. And I'm sitting next to an old lady, and the old lady said, "What the fuck was that?" Like,
Again,
Like,
again, it's they
just so lost at the idea.
it doesn't matter because we don't fucking know the plot. What the
Yeah.
fuck are you building towards, man?
No, for
Where
real.
are you going? I don't
I don't
this
mean to say also, I don't mean to say that that scene doesn't get the message across. There's a bunch of cats. Yes, there is. I'm just saying
no, no, that's it.
there. Yeah, I
That's
mean,
it.
yeah, but it's
That's
so
what I'm trying to get at. It's
weird.
like it's the reason why so many people are fucking lost. It's
Yeah.
the same reason, like, at the ending of Doctor Strange: Multiverse of Madness when fucking, when she shows up and she's like, "Hey, we gotta go into, fuck, I forget what it is," but he's pretty much like, "Oh, get in this portal with me," and everyone in the theater's fucking lost as to who this character
Oh,
is.
Uh,
Charlie Theron, yeah.
yes, you're
Uh,
talking about Cleo from Doctor
yeah,
Strange. Yeah, gotcha.
exactly. And everyone in the theater is fucking lost because it's just a random
Yeah.
character who shows up and is like, "Hey, get in this portal with me." Instead of writing it as, "Hey, I'm your fucking wife. Get in this portal with me." Like, why didn't you write that? Like, why are you being so ambiguous? Like, people don't know these characters. People don't know what the time, what where we're heading towards. Stop. Like, this isn't like, I don't know. It's just very,
And then the
very
end
convoluted,
credits. Yeah, and then the very end credits, like after all the credits, is a fucking ad for a Disney Plus show for Loki
nuts.
season 2. And I remember just being like, that's the one where I started getting my shit ready. Like I wasn't even like ready to watch whatever else I had left. I was just like, "You gotta be kidding me!" And I just started packing up my stuff. I was like, at that point, I was just boring because I was like, "You gotta be kidding me!" You essentially just said we we didn't do a good job with this villain or setting up his motives or everything that you're complaining about right now. But there's this Plus show that shows that there's more of him out there. Go watch.
Yeah,
Can't
if you wanna
subscribe to make
continue the
sure to
storybook.
like get the Kang will return. I don't give a like
Yeah, it's
Kang
that
Kang is Kang has I still think Kang has the potential to be something big, just not in this movie.
I would say Kang has the potential to be big, but they missed the opportunity. I think a lot of people, and I'm reading this online, a lot of people are just gonna go watch Guardians of the Galaxy 3 and call it a day, hanging up their hats and saying, we're done. The MCU right now is in a free fall. It is like you're still this movie is made a lot. It made, I think, 100 million in its opening weekend, which is a good sign still that people are still invested in the MCU. And I can't wait to see what the second week is and how big the drop off is. But I still hold strong that you are losing a lot of people by not explaining where the fuck we're heading. You know, this isn't
I
the
absolutely
Infinity
agree.
Stones. This isn't the Infinity Stones where it's like, oh, and even with the Infinity Stones, it wasn't like they lose story when it comes to building to the next uh, big bad. Like you still got Thor: The Dark World. You still got Guardians of the Galaxy, which dealt with the Infinity Stones, but they don't like it's still a story
Yeah,
within
yeah. Yep.
while building towards something. Whereas in this, just feels like a fucking filler episode.
All the I know exactly what you mean. All the movies are not aligning to something that we can all like get towards, like something like
And
we're
this
all
is
like,
and this is phase 5. This is the
yeah.
beginning of, where we're supposed to, get excited about where we're heading, and they didn't do anything to even, I don't know.
Let's talk about Modoc.
Yeah, MODOK was good. I think that's exactly the amount of MODOK that you need, and he's so goofy, and they treated it just like that. Like, it's slapstick. They treated him exactly like, you know
Man, people are gonna hate this. Hopefully, we're gonna get a lot of backlash with this podcast because everything we're saying is essentially the opposite of what everyone's saying online, where everyone's saying the CGI sucked, and we're all no, well the CGI was pretty good, and we're all saying like CGI sucked, and then Jonathan Majors is the best thing about this movie, and we're like, Jonathan Majors was okay.
Yeah.
And everyone's ripping Modoc a new one, saying Modoc was the worst thing in this movie. I don't know why he's in the movie. And I absolutely agree with you. I enjoyed Modoc in this movie.
MODOK was
Because he's
fantastic.
MODOK, he looks
Yeah.
ridiculous, and they made him a joke, like, of course he is. I will agree, the CGI on his face is absolutely ridiculous, like, yeah,
Yeah,
it
it's
looked
it's
it looked
terrible,
like a
but
stretch face, yeah. But
But I
I
think
understand too, like, that's a hard character to do, but I think there you go, the humor of MODOK, they fucking nailed it.
and it works too because, yeah, he's Yellow Jacket, you see him shrink and he becomes compressed
Yeah.
into what
Mhm.
it is, and it's so funny seeing MODOK's butt. Like, I can't get that image out of my head. It's, like, the funniest thing I've ever seen, and he's, like, explaining his origin story. Like,
Yeah.
it's just so fucking and it like, man, they nailed it.
I
I
think
think
they
they
did, I
absolutely
really
nailed it.
do, especially when he's like, and I'm been shut down here, and I've given a mechanical," and it just cuts to Paul Rudd or I do that, "Darren?" And it's just and it opens up, and he's like, "Hey there, man," like, it's like and they're like, "What the fuck happened to you?" Like, I think it works so well. MODOK is a
Yeah,
ridiculous character and can only work in that scenario of just being so fucking silly. I do agree.
exactly.
I do agree. I don't know if I'd like the idea of it being Yellow Jacket because he's not in the comics, he's not Yellow Jacket. He's just another mad scientist.
Yeah.
Um,
I love that it's
and
just
the
to put my 2
connection.
cents in there. I love that it's Yellow Jacket. I think it
Oh,
makes
really?
total sense.
It works. It does work though.
Yeah.
I still think I would kinda I don't know if they could do this, but I would love an original MODOK character and him sounding like MODOK, where he's just a high pitch,
Oh,
"MODOK" kinda like thing, and he's always there's a moment in the movie where he's like, "Darren, what the hell?" What's just they just keep making fun of him or something like that,
yeah.
and he says, "Darren is gone, there's only MODOK," and he kinda
Yeah, it
like,
kinda sounds
gets
like
up
him.
and he's yeah, and he gets up and he's like and I love it because MODOK's that in the comics, he's so angry all the time. He's always like, "Ugh, fucking I'm MODOK, I'm the greatest thing ever," right? I wanted that like, MODOK is a character that if you're doing him, everything's out the window, doesn't matter. You can do MODOK one for one from the comics onto TV on the movie only if you make fun of it because the
Yeah.
character looks ridiculous, he has a high pitched voice, he's mad scientist kinda thing, right? Make fun of that, and we'll
Mhm.
have a great time with this character. And I don't like the my god, that was another eye roll, that whole, ah, character turn. "Just don't be a dick." "But that's all I know how to be is being a dick." Like, I was like, "Ah."
Yeah, and especially that was a little like, the humor in this is terrible, I think. A lot of jokes don't land.
Which ones? I kinda like a lot of the MODOK ones, but which ones for
Just, uh, try
well, I
not
mean,
being a
I
dick and,
yeah, yeah, yeah. I
um
agree.
yeah, there's a lot of humor in this that I just feel like it's supposed to be, there's supposed to be tension here, and they try to break it with a joke, and it's not working.
We also talk
Um,
about how Hope and Hank don't really have much to do in this movie, like
I love Hank in this movie. I think this is Hank's fucking beautiful arc as a character. That scene where he walks in with the fucking trench coat and all the ants coming in behind him, I'm like, this is peak Hank Pym. Like, holy shit,
yeah,
you can't even,
and he just had a great time being in the quantum realm.
yeah.
It was
Like
just
this
kinda like,
man
"Whoa,
was
look at
like,
that guy, look at that guy." I was like, "That's pretty fun." But
yeah.
maybe Hope definitely just kinda was just man, was
Hope
she a
is the
side
one that
character.
Hope is the one that absolutely gets sidelined in
Man,
this movie.
her script must have been like a couple pages because I can't even
I don't remember anything, honestly.
yo, Hope was
That's terrible.
so her mother,
Michelle Pfeiffer,
Michelle what's her character's name?
Janet.
Janet. She had a little bit she had more to do. I kinda like her origin story with Kang and how
Yeah, that was
she,
cool.
thingy. Also, let's talk about Bill Murray. Bill Murray was in this for, half 11 seconds.
Yeah,
He was in the trailers, but,
I'm done with these
yeah,
shoehorned in famous celebrities who want to jump in the MCU train. I love Bill Murray to death, but
this was absolutely just for brownie points for him to say
yeah,
that he was in the MCU, like,
yeah, and it's cool
just
that
so he
he's
could
in
tell
it,
his kids or something to be like, "I'm
yeah,
the next Ant-Man movie." I'm like, "Sure."
but it's not like what's his name, like Jeff Goldblum. Like Jeff Goldblum is a character
Yeah,
in Thor
yeah,
Ragnarok. This character is he's in it for 15 seconds and then he gets eaten by fucking, well, we don't know if he gets eaten, but he gets fucking
yeah, yeah.
beat up by a giant tentacle monster, and I'm just like, okay, thanks for the cameo, I guess. He's hilarious though. That scene where he's like, are you human? Well, only the best parts. I
Yeah.
That was hilarious. I literally was like, I was eating popcorn. I almost died.
I did have an eye roll when he has some entrance, like some
Yeah,
rock star or something, like, "Ding, ding,
that
ding,
was
ding,
awesome.
I'm gonna be here for 15 seconds." I was like, "Why?"
It's only when you realize it's 15 seconds that you're like, "Fuck,
Yeah,
that scene sucks."
right. Yeah, some of these
After-realism.
characters' motives and arcs are just it's almost like non-existing. Hey, what do you think about that scene? The when they're
Oh,
inside the multi. Oh, what you gonna say? Were you gonna say something? Go ahead.
yeah, just one more thing,
No, go ahead.
that I d that my friend Jimmy brought up that I agree 100%. This movie did a terrible job explaining what the fuck is happening in the quantum realm. Like, absolutely, like, awful job. Why are there humans down there? You know, this is a comic book movie. You're just gonna accept it, and you're just kind of like, oh, okay,
Yeah, I
I guess
never really
so.
thought about that. I
Yeah,
guess I
no,
kind of well, I kind of saw like space. There's humans in space, but they're not humans. You know,
I can understand uh
like
creatures.
Sylvester Stallone is from space. He looks like a human, but he's not from Earth. I
Yeah,
kind of
but
saw the
that's
quantum realm like another sector, essentially, almost like space, but not space.
the thing. It's not space. Like I can
Okay,
understand
it's
it.
another realm. Who
I can
cares if they look
understand.
like human?
I can understand like alien like beings in the quantum realm, but when there's humans in there, then that's when I'm like, explain yourself. I don't understand how there's humans in the quantum realm.
I don't know. I guess that I didn't think about that only because I saw the quantum realm as a different realm. Like it's almost like a different dimension. And in this dimension, there are people that look humanoid. You know, they look like humans, but they're not humans. They're whatever the fuck they call themselves.
The sec
It's
like
it's fair though. I could see some people being confused though. That's true.
that line was hilarious. I'll give it a whole point up just for that line where it's like, how many holes do you have? And it's like Scott trying to figure out how many holes he has for a second.
Yeah, yeah.
That was
That's
fucking
only
great.
because Paul Rudd can oh my god, like Paul Rudd is just so comedically funny and can make
He really is.
awkward things and stuff like that. I love the scene I was gonna bring this up. The scene where they're underneath the core and all the Scott Langs are having different probabilities and they have to go get
Yeah.
inside. And there's the Baskin Robbins
Oh my god.
and Paul Rudd, who's not even a superhero, he's just a Baskin Robbins employee. And they all start making the tower of Ant-Man to get close to it, and one of the one of the top people in the tower is the Baskin Robbins,
Yeah.
Scott Lang. He's like, "Go get her!" Like
Look at her.
fucking so good, like
I love Paul Rudd so much.
so
Uh,
good. God, the potential is ridiculous. Like
but
he's so damn
that's my
funny.
thing. That's my thing. Is that that's another really good moment in that movie. The probability storm makes so much sense the way like that scene where they're all working together because they love Cassie.
Awesome. That was like a Disney moment.
Yeah, that was incredible. Like, yes, that's pretty much the only highlights of this movie that I really enjoyed. Do
Um,
you want to hear this cool theory? Goes out to DJ33. His theory is the reason they went so hard on the probability storm scene, including cooking up a name for the phenomenon and saying it repeatedly, is that it's a setup for the return of the movies. For the return of the movies Kang. Phase 5 will be spent dealing with the Council of Kangs by various methods. Odds are some of them get defeated, but the Kang from this film is the conqueror. He got sucked into the multiverse engine at the end, and right now he's stuck in there with infinite copies of himself. When this happened to Scott, it was chaos for a moment, but then they all found common ground because they wanted to get back to Cassie and work together. But Kang isn't Scott. He's trapped in there, fighting infinite versions of himself because that's what he does. It's literally what got him exiled in the first place. Even the ants are foreshadowing. He's not just stuck inside a multiverse engine, he's stuck inside a multiverse engine inside the quantum realm. The ants experienced thousands of years in an hour or so. He's going to pop out of this battery in 4 years, having spent billions of years fighting infinite copies of himself, infinite Kangs. He'll walk through what remains of the council like they're nothing, and we'll get a dark ending on the level of Infinity War.
that
How
would be cool,
insane
but
would that be?
I mean, this guy's very hopeful.
Yeah, that is a
This sounds like a guy who's on our boat where he doesn't like the way this Kang turned out because this Kang was a bit of a pushover. And now he wrote this hypothetical scenario and hoping maybe someone at Marvel, please, this is how
please.
you could save Kang the Conqueror and make him a badass
Yes.
and not have him balloons to a bunch of ants.
It's funny because as you were saying that the your what you dislike, that you're like, "Oh, he gets beaten up by a bunch of ants." I was like, "Oh my god, I gotta go back and find this comment," uh, because it is exactly how you make him a threat. Wait, if you say that he spent 4 years conquering other Kangs of himself, and he comes out now, it's like, the hyperbolic time chamber, and he's just in there like, training, like, whew, man, what a cool idea. Again,
If
I still don't know what the plot is, but, you know?
I uh I would like that, but you have to give it to some great ass writers. That's all I have to say.
Yeah.
Let
But
me throw
yeah.
you this hypothetical, this scenario.
Mhm,
And this is just coming from my head. I didn't see this online or anything, and it's not that like original. It's whatever. You know what scene I really liked in this movie? When Janet, when she's talking about her origin with Kang
yeah.
and them being stranded there, and he's like, "Yeah, that was stranded here," and blah blah blah, and they just work together to get this chair running and everything. And she touches a chair, and she's like, "Who's Kang?" And he's talking. That whole sequence is the one moment in the movie I really liked. I was like, "Hey, I really like that. That was really cool." Like this origin to Kang and all that stuff, right? That should have been the movie.
What are you talking about?
I think it would have been way cooler if the movie was that. If Scott and Cassie and the Wasps got
Mhm.
lost in the quantum realm, right? And once they got lost in the quantum realm, they met Kang, and he has nothing. He has an empty chair and everything, right? And this Kang tries to tell this Kang tries to
Mhm.
tell him that I'm a good Kang, and the Kang that's after me is Kang the Conqueror. And that Kang is trying to tell him, like, listen, that Kang the Conqueror is part of the Council of Kangs, and they're gonna do some evil shit, and they don't understand that I'm, like, I have to stop them because, fucking they're gonna do some evil shit. And then, they eventually help this Kang to get to defeat the council. It's only until they realize that the Kang they've been helping is actually Kang the Conqueror. Yeah,
Yeah.
you know what I'm
That's
saying? So
cool.
essentially,
That's cool. I like
right?
that.
And we follow Jonathan Major as Kang the Conqueror throughout the entire movie with Scott Lang and him telling them more and more that, yeah, I was part of this council and they just kicked me out and I feel like I have to do my job. All that stuff you want about why are we here? Like, why does he want the stuff, right?
Mhm.
And then when it comes to if we have that kind of cool ending of him being like, there you go, I'm doing an origin story for Kang, banished by the council because he pitched to them, hey, I think we should start deleting universes. And they're like, no, you're fucking crazy. And then
Exactly.
maybe he went out and deleted a universe. And they're like, we told you not to do that. You're insane. You killed fucking trillions, and they exile him, right? So it's him with nothing going to, I guess, get revenge on the
Mhm.
council. Sorry if I just sound like I'm rambling because I
No,
really
no,
like the
no.
thought.
It's making perfect sense. I wanna,
Yeah,
finish your
he tells him, there you go. He tells him the movie, "I'm an Avenger. I'm Ant Man." He's like, "Ant Man?" He's like, "Yeah." It's like, "Are you the one with the hammer or something like that? I've killed so many
yeah.
Avengers or something like that, right?"
Mhm.
I think it would be great if, in my hypothetical scenario, where this Kang the Conqueror's he's getting help by this Ant Man, right? That he's never run into this superhero. He's run into Hulk, Iron Man, all that stuff, right? He's like, the one time I ran into an Avenger called Ant Man, he has no idea who I am, or I have no idea who he is or anything. I'll just totally manipulate him. And
Yeah.
that would work for why Ant-Man is fighting Kang in this movie, because Ant-Man is the outlier.
Yeah.
He's not even supposed to be in this, what I mean? That's Kevin Feige's
It's
master plan.
yeah, it's the rat that hits
Exactly,
the button in, Endgame.
exactly, and I would have it towards the end where Kang the Conqueror is just like, "Listen, you just showed up just in time, essentially, for me to, take my revenge on the council and everything.
Mhm.
And it's just lucky enough that it was an Avenger that I've never run into. How lucky is that? You know what I mean? Like just something where it's like, what are the odds?
Yeah.
Multiverse of people, and there's an Avenger I've never heard of called Ant Man. You're the guy who controls ants. Sure, let's go with that.
Yeah.
And it could also work in the theming in where Cassie tells him, "I'm helping other people. Just because it's not happening to you doesn't mean it's not happening." And that could be the theming of Scott being like, oh, Kang telling Scott legitimately, maybe towards the end, because you helped me, you can go back to your time. Don't worry about what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna spare you because you saved my life, whatever that. I'm still gonna kill the fucking council on there, but I'm gonna kill multiple universes and everything. But I'll spare 616. The theming of the movie is just because it's not happening to you doesn't mean it's not gonna happen to a bunch of multiverses out there. So Scott's like, no, I have to stop you.
Yes. What you just explained should have happened in this movie. And we see why he's exiled, and we see why he's such a threat to the entire timeline, you know? And that would have been so juicy, just as like a moviegoer to see like, holy shit. And you're constantly questioning, is this the Kang, the Conqueror, or is this just a different
I love
Kang?
the moment where he tells him, "Then what are you gonna do?" When Janet Van Dyne tells him, "And once you get your chair running, what are you gonna do?" "Win." And
Yeah.
he kinda, like, rises and his chair's working. That was awesome. That looks so cool.
Man, I just really, really wish I knew what the fuck he was talking about. I just that's my thing. It's like
There
I
is a
don't
cool story there. There I'm saying it's just because of bad writers. There is a great motive for a character there. Like, he kinda essentially has the motive of Doctor Doom, where he truly feels like there's a council of Kangs, and they all think they know what they have to do. And he's like, "They're gonna make a multi," because this is the actual story. "They're gonna make a multiversal war." That's what's called the Secret War. You know, all the multiverses colliding, and everything's gonna delete itself. It's just gonna everything's way. He truly feels like if he's not in charge and have the sacred timeline, then, everything's gonna get fucked. I have to be in charge of everything. I think there's a good story you could tell there, just they haven't done it.
but man, what you pitched there where he's like, "Hey, I'll spare yours. You know, you helped me. I'm
Mhm.
a man of my word. I won't conquer you, but I will conquer all these other timelines." And Scott being Scott would say no.
It again puts Scott as the rat, like you said, in Infinity War.
Yeah.
I would also have it that gets the attention of the 616 MCU is Scott. Just like Scott was a guy who got trapped in the quantum realm and comes back and tells the Avengers, "I was in the quantum realm and for 5 years and time travel could be a thing." He's that one random,
Anomaly.
yeah, he's that one anomaly that just keeps, for some fucking reason in this
I
entire
love that about
multiverse.
the MCU. I love that
Yes,
so much.
and I would have it again that us being like, he does it again. Like, for some reason, he's the guy who runs into Kang the Conqueror and gets
Yeah.
Kang's attention to 616, you know?
Here's my pitch for the movie, and it's very simple. I don't know. It's simple, but obviously, like you have to write a whole bunch of shit around it. But it should have been a heist movie. It should have been,
What?
yeah. Every Ant Man started as a heist movie. Yeah, I just think like that to me is like where I would have headed with the movie. But
I think the idea of a heist could work somewhere in there too. Something with technology, you know?
yeah, I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 10 now. Fuck this movie.
Okay, I know I'm gonna I maybe have to watch it more, but I really did dislike this movie, unfortunately. I really didn't want to. It is I like Eternals more than this movie.
No way.
Yes, yeah, I
I
said it.
I I think this movie is better than Eternals, and this movie is better than Ant Man and the Wasp.
It's literally behind, like, Eternals and, like, Thor: Love and Thunder, like, it's very, very low on the list.
For the most part,
Ah,
I think this movie is still fun and has fun moments, and that I can appreciate. You know.
my theater started to laugh when Hank started talking about the ants living 1,000 years, and they're really smart, and my theater just literally started to openly laugh at the stupidity of
Yeah.
just, "Okay, it's not stupid." I know some people out there and be like, "But they set it up," and I'm like, it's just like,
That's
nobody
another
fucking
thing
cares,
that I
man.
liked about it, man. It's not ashamed to be a comic book movie.
Explain.
It was a it was a comic book movie through and through. You got Modoc, you got a bunch of fucking super smart ants who lived 5,000 years. Uh,
Yeah, but it doesn't work with Kang. This is the movie that's supposed to fucking, like, bring in the next
honestly,
step of, like, you're essentially trying you know what you just told me? You know what they just essentially tried to tell me? Ant-Man defeated 2 Thanoses by himself.
maybe he's not Thanos yet.
No.
Is what it is. You know.
Then you have to tell us that towards the end of the movie or something. I don't know.
What's crazy is if this Kang the Conqueror is supposed to be Thanos level, how the fuck is Ant Man fighting him 1-on-1? Isn't he Ant Man just human? Like that's just like I
Well,
honestly expected
Kang is
when
also
his
human too.
oh is he really?
Yeah, Kang's just a guy. But his technology is so damn advanced, it's almost like magic. No, he comes to the year 3000, but he's like a super mega genius.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. That makes sense. I
Yeah.
was gonna say like that ending when they're fist fighting each other. I was like, I thought he was the second the helmet came off. I was like, yo, you better protect your head, bro. He's gonna pop that thing like a melon.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh,
but
that
yeah,
was our review.
that was our fucking.
Our
I mean,
negative
I feel
ass
like we
review.
fucking abolished this movie.
Yeah. Well,
But it's because
I'm not sugarcoating. I really did hate this movie.
We say this with love though because we love the MCU so much, and it sucks to see it treated with such lack of care when we've seen 10 years of stellar storytelling and good scripts and good writing. And oh man, this sucks. Oh my god. Of all
Oh
things, man.
yeah. Well, that'll do it for this episode. Thanks everyone for listening to another episode of the Ray 2000 podcast. Bye, everybody.
Take it easy.